returning to Panama with one of the most extreme twists ever.
Exile Island is really the theme of this season.
For the first time in the history of the game, contestants will find themselves exiled from their own tribes, forced to live alone in the harshest of conditions.
You got these pesky fire ants that are going to crawl all over you and bite you.
Plus, we reveal another first. 4 tribes will start the game separated not only by gender but by age. Only TV Guide Channel was on location in Panama to meet this season's players, including a 3-time astronaut, a female lumberjack with a heart of gold, a hunky yoga instructor, and a former beauty queen with a degree in engineering. You'll meet them and the other 12 castaways vying for $1 million.
I'm cutthroat, you know, I'm competitive, and I want to win.
I can stomp these jokers up here anywhere.
I'm terrified! Somebody save me!
Plus, you'll see it here first. Jeff Probst takes us on an exclusive tour of the hottest tribal council ever. Get ready for one exciting season ahead. This is Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview.
How cool is that?
Hi everyone, welcome to Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview. I'm Danny Boatwright. Last season, I managed to survive 39 days in the Guatemalan jungle to win the title of sole survivor and the $1 million prize. While we had to suffer landlocked humidity and croc-infested waters, for the 12th season of the series, the cast and crew are heading back to the clear blue water and white sandy beaches of Panama. But the beautiful setting comes with a price. They also have to avoid the huge twist this season has in store for them. Let's just call it Survivor's version of the penalty box.
This season is officially called Survivor Panama Exile Island, and the Exile Island is really the theme of this season. Exile Island is a place where throughout the season, survivors will be banished and forced to live on their own. It's a tiny little island with very little on it in terms of food, and you got to live on your own. When it rains, you don't have any real shelter other than the huge skull that is the icon of this season that's situated on Exile Island. I'm guessing people are going to crawl in there and try to sleep. The flip side to Exile Island is that hidden somewhere out there is an immunity idol. And if you find it, you're safe at the vote. So what that means is I can come into Tribal Council, have the immunity idol, and not say anything. And if you guys surprise me and vote me out, I hold it up and say, sorry, not this time. And then I'm immune, and whoever had the most votes after that, they're gone. Panama's a refreshing change from Guatemala, for sure. And it's kind of like an old home to us because we've been here twice before.
With its world-famous canal, intriguing past, and beautiful beaches, it's no wonder Survivor has returned to Panama.
And the way it worked out this time was once we decided to do Tribes of 4 and Exile Island, that's 5 islands already that we need. There aren't a lot of places that offer that many beaches.
We love the look of Panama and the waters here and the islands, and you know, when the sun comes out, it's gorgeous here. The waters are just stunning.
You will see plenty of water challenges this season after last season, and being in Guatemala was great. Guatemala was beautiful, but we all got just starved for water.
There are 16 fresh new castaways ready to take on those challenges and Exile Island.
This group is a lot more like Palau. There seems to be a vitality, an eagerness to just get out and play Survivor. So I'm hoping we're going to have some fun. First big change for this season is we're dividing the tribes into 4 tribes of 4 people, and they're being separated by age and gender. So we have the older guys, the older women, they'll love that, the younger guys and the younger women.
The older men's tribe is represented by a diverse group of characters, starting with pilot Terry.
We were watching Tom get his $1 million a while back from Palau, and my wife looks over at me, who is even more competitive than I am, and says, would you like to do that? And I was like, hell yeah.
If Terry can get in with the right group of people and keep numbers on his side until he gets to an individual part of the game, watch out. That dude could win it.
Bring it on.
Family man Dan has also done a bit of flying in space.
He's a former astronaut. He's been up. So in terms of playing this game, I think he's very well suited.
Survivor is a very interesting model for long-duration spaceflight. It's exactly what long-duration crews are going to have to deal with, and that is how do you get along with this diverse group of people in a stressful situation, being able to tolerate how other people do stuff. is a really important skill to have.
But will Dan and the others be able to tolerate Shane, the youngest of the older men's tribe?
I'd watched the show since the get-go, and I was fascinated by the Machiavellian nature of it all. I really thought that I'd be great for the show, and I used to watch the show all the time and yell at people because they were making a vital error. And I was just through yelling at the television. So now I'm here and I'm going to yell at some other people.
And I like him as a character, but if he plays the way he's been showing us, he'll be a short timer.
I'm here to win.
But winning is also what art teacher Bruce is all about.
I taught backpacking for 19 years. 25 years ago, I ran the John Muir Trail and set a record.
And as the oldest survivor in Panama, Bruce feels his 4 decades as a karate instructor will help him most in the game.
Teaching karate has brought all the elements of survivor for me. When I teach, I like to do about 2,000 techniques a night.
If Bruce is smart enough to realize, okay, I better quiet down, he'll be okay. Prediction? He won't realize it, and Bruce will be gone soon.
The knowledge I have of surviving is I could write the books.
Coming up, we'll unmask more contestants, including one that has Jeff Probst shaking his head.
Do you know how to play Survivor? We'll find out.
And later, we reveal why this season's Tribal Council is the hottest one ever. Plus, a TV Guide channel exclusive. We uncover a challenge you'll see this season on Survivor. So stick around, you won't want to miss it. Welcome back to Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview. I'm Danny Boatwright. Before the break, we introduced you to the first of the 4 tribes competing in Panama. Now it's time to meet the 2 types of contestants that typically don't do all that well in the game, the young guys and the older women. Jeff's favorite group? The older women who are not your average soccer moms. Just look at Ruth Marie.
Ruth Marie is the oldest woman out here, and arguably in as good a shape as any woman out here.
I'm a long-distance runner, endurance type thing. I get better as things get worse, and I think I'll be perceived on the very front end as the opposite of that. But the worse things get, the better I personally get.
Wisconsin-born Tina was already selected to be part of my cast in Guatemala, but tragedy kept her from going.
I was 10 days from leaving to Guatemala when my 16-year-old son was killed in a car accident, which obviously prevented me from going.
We said, you know, if you feel like it, and if it somehow seems like the right thing to do, you're welcome back next season.
So I just picked him up in my heart, and off we go. I choose to live my life.
And Tina's not only emotionally strong, but a physical threat as well, especially in balance challenges.
I started out as a log roller, and when I started out, it was in the 60s. And log rolling was the only sport available to women.
Tina is a lumberjill. Tina is a very likable Sioux Hawk. You can't help but pull for somebody like that.
While log rolling is a skill that should work on Survivor, singing hasn't really ever helped anyone in the game.
I am an entertainer. I sing and dance in production shows.
But 32-year-old Melinda doesn't plan on sharing her skill with the tribe.
Once people find out that that's what I do, everybody's, oh, sing. And no, I don't. That's just not something that I, just don't crank out a tune.
Operating room nurse Sari will be living a very different life in Panama than she does in her hometown, Jersey City.
I'm a couch potato, and I wanted to do some things before I got too old. I love this show. I want to just challenge myself and see how far I can make it. I think I can win.
Siri represents everybody who's ever sat at home and said, I could do that, but they never got up off the couch. Siri got up off the couch and she's on the show. And I think her little bubbliness is probably a bit of a mask for a player underneath who might be better than we think.
I'm cute and funny, but don't play.
As much as I like the older women, at the other end of the spectrum, I have big questions about the younger guys.
24-year-old yoga instructor Eris is the youngest player in Panama, and he's a bit nervous about his earthy profession getting in the way of $1 million goal.
The yoga tradition teaches like non-greediness and non-lying and all those things, and so it'll be a real challenge for me to apply some of those yogic principles to this game where it rewards truly like the Gordon Geckos of the world.
I'm not sure what he's bringing. He's bringing a lot of talk. Do you know how to play Survivor? We'll find out. That's all I got on RS.
Arizona salesman Nick looks like a challenge threat, but for now, his strategy seems to be all about togetherness.
I would hate to be overly prepared in a way, Hopefully there's someone in our tribe maybe that really knows what they're doing, which would be great, but it makes it more fun. It's like, you know, you go through it together. Let's have some fun with it, rather than one or two people really knowing what they're doing.
Is he athletic? Yeah. You know, is that worth much in Survivor? A little.
I'll play my game. Whatever happens, happens.
Austin, a North Carolina author, got to Panama in an unusual way through another reality show.
For the Amazing Race Family Edition, my family was one of the finalists for that show.
But Austin was called upon solo for Survivor.
I joked around with the casting director later on. I said, I don't know what it is, what the spark you saw in me was, but I'm glad you're under that false misconception, you know, because here I am.
And finally, meet Bobby. His talk is as big as his well-muscled body, but can a guy who refers to himself as Bob Dog make it all the way to the $1 million payday?
In terms of the survival stuff, I mean, I figure the tougher it gets, the better it is for me, because, you know, I'm a genius and I'll figure it out. I don't know how to make fire, but I do know how to destroy people, and I'm bringing that to the table.
He went to Stanford and has a law degree, but he walks around talking about like he's a world wrestler, you know, or something. So I really don't know.
I think the things that are going to help me are the fact that I'm buff, I'm bold, and I'm beautiful. I think the things that are going to hurt me are the fact that I'm buff, I'm bold, and I'm beautiful. There's no way for me to fly under the radar.
Straight ahead, we go behind the scenes of Survivor Panama to find out what secrets these snakes, these boats, and these skulls might reveal about Survivor Panama Exile Island. Plus,
coming up, I'll give you a tour of the new Tribal Council.
Welcome back to Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview. From my own experience in Guatemala, I can tell you that the most recent Tribal Council was an awesome and frightening place. After all, it was a real Mayan temple. Well, this season's Tribal Council goes indoors and underground with an incredible man-made cave. Jeff Probst was kind enough to give us an exclusive tour of that place every survivor wants to avoid.
This is Tribal Council for Survivor Panama Exile Island, and the basic idea is we wanted to build a cave. It took about 9 weeks to build this. There are 2,500 gallons of foam, 3 tons of lumber, so it was a massive project. The torches are very cool this season. A lot of ideas about talismans and spirits and voodoo and all that sort of playing in this season. And these are some of my favorites, really decorated nice. One of the coolest parts of this season's Tribal Council is all the fire. We have about 150 fires, torches all over the place, and we have about 75 candles. But the cool thing about this is it's Survivor, so you know it's not just an ordinary candle. They look like regular candles, but they're actually all individually controlled. Check this out. Hit it, Ian. How cool is that? It wouldn't be a season of Survivor without the snuffer. Our art department created a very cool thing out of this snake head and then this skull. So when it comes time to vote, they'll make their way right down this cubby hole. Just over their shoulder are the survivors. And because of all this foam, the sound carries so far. So you're going to see a lot of people having to say, I'm voting you out because... And it adds a nice conspiratory whisper. I just want you gone. John, bye-bye, brother.
Tribal Council isn't the only man-made wonder that's been created for Survivor Panama Exile Island. The art department has taken us back in time and conjured up lots of magic and mystery.
These boats are actually part of a challenge. They've got a glass bottom. We made these boats in here, some of the lads knocked together. So yeah, it's to do with the searching for skeletons in coffins underwater and transporting them to their new home and tombs on the island. This is the skull of some 10-foot tall zombies. They're the hero prop of one of the challenges, one of the first challenges. They start out in the water and they're in boats, and the main goal of the challenge is to transport these skulls back onto the zombies and then light them on fire.
There you have it, a foam cave, a skull snuffer, 10-foot tall zombies, and more pyro than a Kiss concert. That's how you create Survivor Panama Exile Island. Coming up,
all I was thinking about is, do I want to sign on another long-term deal?
The papers all said he was quitting, but it turned out not to be true. We'll get to the bottom of what made Jeff Probst stay on as Survivor host. And later, only TV Guide Channel was allowed on set for the rehearsal of a challenge you'll see on this season's show. We'll show it to you right after the break. Welcome back to Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview. I'm Danny Boatwright. You've already met 3 of the tribes. Now it's time to introduce you to the final tribe of 4, the young women looking to follow in my footsteps and collect that $1 million prize. 26-year-old social worker Sally has already proven her perseverance just trying to get on Survivor.
This is my 5th audition tape, actually, so apparently the 5th time is the charm for me. And I've seen people in this game before that are just like, I don't want to vote this person off, and I'm like, what are you doing, you know, like, vote him off.
Sally, I think, gets the game, and she might know that the place to stay is somewhere in the middle, never on the bottom and never at the top.
Boston-born Danielle has something in common with previous players from her hometown.
Bostonians, we're a different breed of people, you know. I mean, we're strong, we're tough.
But in Survivor, how strong is too strong?
If somebody tries to demean me or piss me off, per se, might have to bite my tongue a little bit harder than usual.
And it seems like Danielle might already be taking her own advice a little too seriously.
Danielle is definitely the most puzzling going into this game because when we put her on the show and casting, she was full of personality, and she got out here on the beach and it just went whew, nothing, not a peep.
Misty shares a common trait with me. Both of us have competed in beauty pageants in the past.
That's helped me develop part of my strategy in terms of Survivor is never, not for 1 second, get comfortable.
But Misty is more than just a pretty face. She's also a rocket scientist and missile engineer.
Everyone, hands down, is always shocked to hear that I'm an engineer. And I'm used to being underestimated, and I hope that that continues throughout this game.
With her dreadlocks and abundant energy, performance artist Courtney might be providing the most spark on the young women's tribe.
I dance with fire, and I dance on stilts, and I do work on trapeze. I've worked for Cirque du Soleil, so I provide a good time.
We've all marveled at Survivor's ability to come up with insane challenges. But before the tribes hit the sand and surf to sweat it up, these tests of mental and physical endurance have to be tested.
This is where we've thought it out, we put it on paper, we made some votes, and now we go out to figure out everything that could go wrong.
Challenge producer John Kierhofer gave us an exclusive peek as a future challenge was tested, with Survivor production staff going head-to-head against a group of journalists, including TV guide Shauna Malcolm.
1, 2, 3, TV!
Just ahead, think you've got this season's castaways and twist all figured out? Guess again.
I'm the very person who thought Richard Hatch was the first person kicked out of Survivor. How wrong was I?
We'll remind you how just about everyone got it wrong last season when Survivor Panama Exile Island preview returns. Welcome back to Survivor Panama Exile Island preview. I'm Danny Boatwright. Exile Island is one of the most intense twists Survivor has ever thrown at the castaways, but it clearly isn't the first. Here are some of our favorite twists that have changed up the game through the years.
The idea for an Exile Island kind of came out of the idea that we did in Palau, where we sent Janu off. We thought, what if we expanded on that and made that an actual part of the game?
But that wasn't the only twist producers tossed at the Palau castaways. Right at the beginning of the show, they held a schoolyard pick where Wanda and Jonathan found themselves out of luck and out of the game before the first challenge.
Have a good one, guys!
And while that particular gym class nightmare was rough, it was nothing compared to how the cast in Pearl Islands kicked off the game by getting booted off a boat pirate style. And that wasn't all they had to deal with in Pearl Islands.
Your past has come back to haunt you. Come on in, guys.
Remember the return of voted off players in one of Survivor's most controversial moves to date?
The 6 people you have voted out return now as a 3rd tribe.
And during my game in Guatemala, the returning players came from the previous season as Palau's Bobby John and Stephanie came back for one more shot.
Stephanie is a member.
Though Panama Exile Island is the first time tribes are being split into 4 groups, Burnett and company have changed up the tribe splits before. In the All-Star season, we had 3 tribes. while in the Amazon, the groups were divided by gender.
It is only fitting that for the first time, while we're here in the Amazon, we have a tribe of women versus a tribe of men.
A scheme producers liked so much that they brought it back for the Vanuatu season. One big difference in the Thailand season, the expected merge didn't take place.
You said merge.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't say anything to give you that impression, did I?
Effectively sealing Xi'an's fate in the game.
Xi'an, the tribe has spoken.
One thing is certain, the only thing you can count on in the game of Survivor is to never count on anything. Later, he's the man with the most famous dimples on TV. Jeff Probst reveals what it's like to be TV's top reality host.
And it's suddenly like you're Brad Pitt, and it's, you know, everybody wants to hear what you have to say.
But up next, it's one big lesson all survivors should take to heart. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back to Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview. You know, if there's one thing we've come to expect after 12 seasons of Survivor, it's that you never know how the contestants are going to play the game once they're on the island. Everyone has their initial predictions of how well contestants will do, but year after year, the castaways surprise us, sometimes for the worst, but more often for the better. Here are some of the players who managed to shock their tribe mates, the viewers, and even Jeff Probst. Remember this guy from Pearl Islands? With a surplus of imposing muscle, Austin looked like a sure bet to win the challenges and possibly the $1 million too. But he became the game's first quitter.
Austin, per your wishes, go home.
On the flip side, we watched several players make it much further in the game than anyone thought they would. Even Jeff Probst had his doubts during the last season.
Lydia the fishmonger, as charming as she is, if I were betting, I wouldn't bet on her.
But Lydia made it all the way to the Final Four in Guatemala. Then there are those who we thought were definitely out in the first episode, such as Chris, who single-handedly lost the first challenge for the men in Vanuatu and handed victory to the women. But after the balance beam debacle, Chris hit his stride, overcoming an alliance of 5 women to become the sole survivor.
When I look at my strategy and I look how I went about things, I was fortunate enough to do everything right and at the same time have a little bit of luck.
Even Survivor All-Stars can be blindsided. Though Rob and Amber's unshakable alliance was clear to everyone, none of these master players managed to vote them off, allowing them to become the champs of the All-Star season.
There's no way to predict what's going to happen in Survivor. I mean, I'm the very person who thought Richard Hatch was the first person kicked out of Survivor. How wrong was I?
Coming up, she's the new contestant waiting for her chance to take on Jeff Probst.
Is he ready to be at the end of my That's the question.
We'll tell you what she's after when Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview returns. Welcome back to Survivor Panama Exile Island Preview. I'm Danny Boatwright. Recently, Survivor host Jeff Probst announced he would stay on the reality blockbuster for at least another 2 years. Well, TV Guide Channel has been lucky enough to follow Jeff on many of the past seasons, so we figured it was the perfect time to pay tribute to the ultimate host and find out just why this game has him hooked.
I looked around and realized Survivor is an awesome show, and I love doing it, and I want to keep doing it. And that made the decision right there.
TV Guide Channel first met Jeff Probst when we went to the set of Rock and Roll Jeopardy! And then came the big jump to what was a huge and unknown endeavor.
Well, I just finished a show for CBS that's called Survivor, and that I think is going to be pretty cool.
TV Guide Channel's been with Jeff through many seasons of the show since then, even sending the one and only Sue Hawk to grill him about the game.
Thank you, TV Guide, because usually interviews with Sue are like this.
They were nasty.
And from Pearl Islands to All-Stars, Palau, and beyond, we've been there when Jeff has kicked off the game.
Survivor's ready. Go!
He definitely lives and breathes the show. He is every bit a creative producer on the show.
The man with the $1 million dimples even managed to find love on Survivor with 5th place Vanuatu finisher Julie.
It's where I meet the love of my life, on Survivor, which I would have never, ever dreamed would happen.
Single or not, Jeff is still a big hit with the ladies.
I've always been a Jeff Probst fan because, you know, he's just so cute.
first of all, I think he's a hottie. He's very cute.
My mom has a crush on him, and I'd like for my dad and my mom to stay married, so Jeff better back up. You better stop flashing that smile and doing wonders for my mom.
And as we gear up for the 12th season, are the new castaways ready to take on the man we call the 17th contestant?
I think mum's the word with Jeff, you know? You try to keep it simple, a lot of respect with the guy, because he does have the power to change the game.
If he tries to best me, I'm going to challenge him to a log rolling match. And I know I'll beat him in that.
I think Jeff is cool, but he can't shake me. I mean, I'm from New Jersey.
I still walk around going, I can't believe I'm a part of this show.
And believe me, he's one of the most important parts of Survivor. Well, that'll do it for Survivor Panama Exile Island preview. You can catch all the exiling, backstabbing, and what goes down at the Super Hot Tribal Council Cave Thursdays at 8, 7 Central on CBS. Thanks for watching. I'm Danny Boatwright. See you later.
And what's cool about the skull is where it came from, because actually TV Guide has a strong connection to Survivor this year. John Henson actually volunteered to be, just for a moment, decapitated. We actually took an imprint of his skull, we made this, we used it, and then, you know, we put Henson back together. There's one slight hiccup with Henson. Sometimes when he gets at, and it hangs a little long, it's not because he's trying to keep the smile too long, it's because he can't stop. It's just a little hiccup. But it's John Henson's head.